Really quickly before this video begins, I wanted to make sure that I get the comment of the week in this week. So this week, the comment of the week comes from Ruben Filamua, who had a very interesting, albeit kinda long, explanation for why he really likes this movie. If you want to be the comment of the week next week, make sure to drop a comment below. And with all of that out of the way, let's get into this video. Okay, so I recently found out about Kaguya Sama Love is War. I know. I was late to the party. What else is new? Anyways, if you know me at all, you know that I'm a huge proponent of dubbed anime, so I was super excited whenever I started watching this show, and as I started watching the show, the dub for the second season started coming out. Great. Perfect. So I finished season 1 in sub. I'm all excited to watch season 2 in dub. Oh my god. It has finally happened, people. It is one of the first and only times that I have preferred a subbed anime over a dubbed anime.
Uses logic like a weapon to beat girls down.
That's seriously how you thought of me?
And I have to tell you, this is a pretty momentous occasion. I mean, I literally have watched everything that I possibly could watch in dub versus sub. So it's pretty rare whenever this happens. The only other time that I can think of a time where something like this has happened is one of those situations where the sub just came out way before the dub, so I really wanted to watch the show, so I just watched it in sub. And then normally I go back and watch the dub and I thoroughly enjoy it. I might not enjoy it more, but I normally enjoy it just as much. Like Demon Slayer was a good example of that. I went back and watched the dub of Demon Slayer and I was not disappointed. It was pretty much just the same show that I loved, but in my native tongue. This is not the case for Kaguya Sama Love is War. So maybe that's really just a sign that I need to start watching more sub, but I don't know. So I guess my issues probably start off with the narrator.
I, Hayasaka, Kaguya Shinomiya's personal assistant. She executes every task thrown at her with the finesse of a pro.
I really did not like Whis as the narrator. At least that's who I'm assuming. Actually, let me Google search that real fast. I'm not 100% sure that's who it is, but that's who it sounded like. It sounded like Whis from Dragon Ball Super. Let me look that up. Dub, voice, actor, narrator, Kaguya Sama Season 2. Ian Sinclair. Yep, that's him. That's him. That's Whis, right? Yeah. That's Whis. I could tell it was Whis immediately whenever I heard it, and I didn't have to search it up. Just trust me. Unless my editor left this part of the video in. In that case, you can't trust me because you know I'm lying. Anyways, hearing Whis as the narrator was not exactly what I wanted from the narrator role. I mean, whenever you listen to the sub of this anime, you really get a good feel for how it should sound. I mean, he's like very intense and very... what's the word? He's like intense and serious in like a comedic way, whereas I feel like Whis' character, and I'm just gonna keep calling him Whis for now because that's the only thing I can hear whenever I hear this guy in the dub. Whenever I hear Whis come in and start making these kind of silly little flamboyant jokes, I'm like, well, this isn't how it's supposed to be at all. I mean, like these quote unquote serious things are happening on the screen, and obviously they're not very serious, but they're supposed to sound serious. Things are happening on the screen. And all of a sudden I hear Whis from Dragon Ball being like, ooh, this is a funny situation that we find ourselves in, isn't it? And it's like, no, I want this to be like a very serious, like, here we are. Kaguya has just handed him a birthday cake. That's how it should be. It shouldn't be like, Kaguya gave him a birthday cake. Like all too happy almost, it sounds like. I don't know. I feel like that was one of my first main gripes. My second gripe that I have with this one, it's gotta be... And I hate to say it, because this is one of my favorite things about the show, so it really disappointed me whenever I heard this. For some reason, Chika's voice actor in the dub, I don't know, I'm guessing that they recorded this from home, and they just did not do a good job in some capacity. I can't quite put my finger on what's wrong, but it just sounds like everybody else has a super high quality dub, like except for the narrator. Even that, the narrator has a good dub, it's just not who I would have picked to play the role. Whereas everybody else is who I would have picked for the role and also has a great quality dub. And then you get to Chika, and Chika sounds like she's recording it in my setup, you know? Like she went onto Amazon and said, what's the cheapest USB condenser mic I can get because I have a job coming up that I need, which is pretty much what I did, except I'm not getting paid. And so like it feels like she just went onto Amazon and picked up a blue snowball and was like, alrighty, we are good to go. Yeah, and then the producers were like, hey, you good to go? You got what'd you get, like a Shure SM20B? And she's like, yeah, sure. And they're like, oh, can you send me a picture of it? And she just sent her like a Google image search of a Shure SM20B because that's what they wanted her to get. But instead she got the blue Yeti. No, not even the Yeti. The Yeti's too much. She got the blue snowball because that's what it sounds like. I mean, it is seriously low quality, and it has to be pretty bad to get me to notice it because I'm not picky about that kind of stuff whenever it comes to a dub. I realize that a lot of times they don't have the same budget that a sub has, and not only that, they also don't have the same, like, you know, in Japan they have voice acting schools. You know, people take this very seriously, and in English it just seems like a lot of times it's just kind of like an afterthought that the studio will come to. They're like, oh, you know what, we should really get a dub out there for this one. And I feel like that's what happened with this one. Obviously COVID had to do with it. I'm sure that wasn't like what they fully intended it to sound like, but still, it kind of blows me away that the producers would let this slide. This is pretty much the face of this show. Before I watched this show, I literally thought that Chica was the main character. I didn't realize that it was the other two. I didn't know what Chica's last name was. I thought that Chica's last name would be Kaguya, and it was gonna be Kaguya Chica. That's literally what I thought. And so this is the face of the franchise, in my opinion, and you're going to let the dub of her be absolute garbage. And obviously I'm being harsh on it. I'm using hyperbole here, but it's really not good. I mean, it's really like a it's probably, I wouldn't say that it's trash. I would put it at like something that I could probably record at my house. That's how good it is, which is not bad. I mean, I have an okay mic, but it's not what I expect from a major studio, let alone this anime, which is so, I mean, everybody's been clamoring for a dub for this one, at least if you're a fan of dubs. If you're a fan of subs, you probably realize that a lot of it wasn't going to translate well, which, by the way, is my next point. So much of this, and I hate to say this because I am such a proponent of dubs, but so much of this show is reliant on all of these things, like honorifics, for example, to name one thing, and then just like a bunch of cultural things that you lose in translation whenever you switch from the Japanese language to the English language. I'm telling you, this show has to be like half as funny in English. Like, I don't know what it is, but it's just not as funny to me in English. And obviously there's only one episode out at the time of recording this. I'll probably try to sneak in my final thoughts of the second episode before this video comes out, unless I'm too lazy. In that case, just disregard everything that I just said just now. But it's just a super depressing start to me because I love this show. I just recently found it, and to see it treated like this in the dub is disappointing to me because I'm such a huge fan of dubs. And so, yeah, overall, I think it was really a good dub with the exception of the narrator and Chica. And the narrator, like I said, it's just not my favorite voice actor for the role, whereas Chica might be a good voice actor for the role. I can't really tell, but whatever is going on with her mic situation needs to be changed before the second episode. Like, it is seriously low quality for what I would expect from this studio. So basically what I'm trying to get at is, yes, this is one of those shows that you should probably watch in sub instead of dub. Even if it rolls out and ends up being, you know, a perfect dub, as good as a dub can be, it just seems like one of those shows where they're not going to get the honorifics right. They're not going to get, you know, the very minute little details that you might miss if you were trying to translate this from Japanese to English. I just feel like they're going to mess something up, and it's just a really tough act to follow, basically. I have nothing against dubs, and in fact, I'm much more of a proponent of dubs than I am sub. Just because English is my native language, so it's just kind of hard to keep up with stuff sometimes. So I'm definitely going to go ahead and say I would skip this dub altogether just based off of what I've seen so far. It just seems like the better move would be to watch the sub. And I've thoroughly enjoyed the sub. Like, if the dub was fully out and I knew how good the sub was, I would definitely go with the sub. I just don't think I would have gotten the same amount of enjoyment out of the dub. So anyways, those are my first thoughts on Season 2, Episode 1. Like I said, if Season 2, Episode 2 comes out before I release this, I'll go ahead and throw that in real quick and tell you what I thought about it. But odds are, unless something drastically changes, this is going to be one of those ones that you watch in the sub, just so you get the entire experience and you don't miss out on anything small. Because this show does have a lot of small things that you really need to keep track of in order to fully enjoy the show. So anyways, I've been Tyler Doe. Thank you for watching my video. Hopefully you watched it all the way to the end. If you liked it, hit like. Make sure you're subscribed, hit the bell icon so you never miss an upload, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye.